In the name of Peseta Lotu-Iiga.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. My question is to the Minister of Finance. What are some of the issues the government will consider to meet the expected cost of the Christchurch earthquake?
The Honourable Bill English.
Mr. Speaker, based on an early assessment of the combined cost of the two earthquakes, the cost to government could be around about $10 billion over the next few years. This will almost certainly involve a combination of the government taking on a bit more debt in the short term. There isn't much choice about that. We're incurring significant costs as we speak. Also an issue of how much of our existing spending can be redirected towards Christchurch and a likely increase in EQC levies, I expect, alongside other insurance premiums. The government will not allow an increase in debt to become permanent. We remain committed to a long-term goal of reducing our debt and vulnerability to foreign lenders.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. What are some of the likely costs the government will face as a result of the earthquake?
The Honourable Bill English.
Well, Mr. Speaker, some of the direct costs will be at least $3 billion for residential property claims from EQC before reinsurance cover applies. Significant contributions to local infrastructure, roads, water, stormwater, sewerage and stop banks. Potentially large costs around land remediation depending on policy decisions there. And of course temporary assistance both to families, individuals and businesses covering from the various support packages that the government is making available in Christchurch.
Peseta Lotu-Iiga.
Further supplementary, what are some of the fiscal policy options the government might consider in response to the earthquake?
The Honourable Bill English.
Well, Mr. Speaker, sound fiscal policy is a good idea under any circumstances, regardless of whether there's extra costs for the earthquake. And the government, as signalled by the Prime Minister earlier in the year, was looking to make progress towards surpluses more quickly. It is unlikely that is certainly now not possible to get there more quickly than we expected. But any changes that the government will make will ensure that we stick to principles we've employed so far, protecting the vulnerable, maintaining frontline public services and maintaining our policies for long-term improvement and economic growth.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. To the Minister, what assurance can he give the House that low-income families receiving Working for Families or families where income support is the primary source of income will not be targeted for savings to meet the fiscal costs of the earthquake?
The Honourable Bill English.
Well, Mr. Speaker, I can give the member the assurance that low-income families and families for whom income support is a principal source of income won't be expected to make contributions.
Peseta Lotu-Iiga.
What will the earthquake mean for the government's wider economic program to build a faster growing economy and higher incomes?
The Honourable Bill English.
Well, Mr. Speaker, while the earthquake is a very significant and tragic event, it merely underlines the importance of the government getting on with its longer-term program to build a faster growing economy. It's essential that we get our finances in order to accommodate the costs of the earthquake, but also that we continue with long-term investment in infrastructure, raising educational standards, a more productive and effective public service, and continued tax reform, because these things will give us a stronger economy which will help us recover from the earthquake.
Question number 2, the Honourable Leader of the Opposition.